So how are you, Albino? Great to see you again. Since last spring.
Thank you for having me with you, Eddie, for your show.
Hi guys, I have here Albino Galuppini. I got here his book, Italian, Terra Piatta, and two books in English. The Fastest Pen in the West, Part 1, and The Fastest Pen in the West, Part 2. The biography of Bill Casey. Excellent books, excellent readings. Albino Galuppini, it's my pleasure to have you here. All right, so we were talking about meetups. We did have one here in Japan. Uh, there was September, I think 14th, it was a Sunday. We had about 40 people there. It was quite nice. Uh, Actually, from those 40 people, perhaps only like five of them I had seen before. Mostly were new people that I had never seen before. On the other hand, the people who attended last time, they they weren't present. Perhaps because it was in Tokyo this time. The last one we did here in Nagoya, so the people who attended were from this region. Now the last one we had this year, we had to go to Tokyo, so it was a different crowd, different people. But I was encouraged because a lot of people, new people, like into flat Earth now. So it's good to know people are researching. So let's go ahead. Let's start presenting. I have some of the videos that you sent me earlier.
Yes, one of the spin-off of the narrative of Freemasons is that these oceans don't mix. Oceans are actually separated. They say the Freemason narrative is that, for example, in Alaska, there is, okay, stop here, please, stop here. There is fresh water coming down from the pole, the North Pole, mixing with the salty water. And so they don't mix at all. They just make this strange border, this separation, the demarcation line. But the truth is that, okay, this is very, very interesting, that images. First, we have to note that fresh water is not that big. An entire ocean of fresh water is just a lie. And then what I suggest you to note and to take note very carefully that not only the color is different, but also the ripples of the waves, the direction of the waves is different, and it is just amazing and mind-boggling, because it is not enough to say this fresh water that mix with ocean water, and it is not a good explanation. It is just not a lie pushed forward by the canonic science about the university science. And this is one of the pieces of information I use to say that we live in a holographic universe. Actually, we live in a holographic world, of course. Universe, not the universe they told us it is in school, but this is one of the piece of evidence, this separation, which is not only a separation of waters, the chemistry, but also the shape of the waves, and the direction of the waves. Also, like just the winds blows in different direction, and just in that demarcation line, which is it is really puzzling for the science. And this is a separation between the clear separation, noticeable separation between oceans. It is not seen only in Alaska like that, the picture you are showing right now, but also in Cape Horn, the southern tip of South America. And so there is no explanation about that. And I've seen a video or two talking about that not only the color is different, but I'm repeating myself, and you can see the direction of the waves is different, the height of the waves is different. Just like a frame in a web page. Do you know the frames in a web page? You can divide the page in two
Yeah. Yeah.
to join in one screen two different web pages, something like that. So uh, we have to wonder why the body noticed it before us, before the flat Earth phenomenon. And this is one reason to say that we live in a holographic universe, holographic flat plane, flat world. And maybe if you go to the next video I sent to you before. Oh yes, okay. Another story that even flat earthers fall for it, because they say that the sun may be at 3,000 miles up, according to certain measurement, certain experiments. But what we see in the reality, and we can see that the sun is actually in the clouds. The sun is actually in the clouds. It is not 3,000 miles above. And so my idea, the theory I have developed, is that the sky we see is just a kind of 3D screen, for lack of better wording. The sky is a kind of 3D screen, a functional 3D screen, because of course we feel the heat of the sun and so on. And the sun is just what we see, is a light. It is not, of course, a star, giant star, distant 93 million miles. And the sun is something that we can see even with clouds behind it. And the same phenomenon happens for the moon. Okay? And the proof, if you scroll a bit down, we have the phenomenon of crepuscular rays which is not as they say to us that the sun, the rays of sun hits the clouds, and so there is a scattering of the solar light, which is not true. The simple answer is that the sun is there. The sun is a light, is an imaginary light. We somewhat imagine to see the sun. It's a kind of dream, if you prefer, because it's something we see with our eyes, but it is not a real thing. It is just a light that rotates over the plane, but it may appear few miles up, just like in the picture, in the crepuscular rays. Okay, so in my theory, the sun is just a product, a byproduct, so to speak, of our mind with our eyes, because we have been created to see the sun like that, to see the sun just like a luminary, and just like the Bible says. I've read, but I believe that it is very, very near to us. So it can't the sun be 3,000 miles away? Okay, even in certain flutter models. In my opinion, the sun is just a light. It's a light. This light in this holographic world in which we live is just a light that it sometimes can appear in between clouds, inside clouds, clouds behind the sun, and the sun and the moon can even appear below the horizon, which is geometrically impossible. Maybe it's going to be the next video I'm going to show you. The sun can't be below the horizon, even in the flattered model. How can you explain it? You can explain it if you accept the idea. Yes, this is another sample of clouds behind the sun, because the sun is not 3,000 miles away, let alone 93 millions miles away. It's just a 3D screen, something like that. I have not come out with different explanation. The sun is just a light, maybe produced in our brain by something or somebody that created us. Of course, I'm Christian, so I believe there is a God, and I believe in the Bible, of course. This is another interesting video of which I was talking you before, that the sun and the moon, there's plenty of videos about that. There's another one next, we're going to see it, in which the sun is even below the horizon. It is not below the clouds, it is below the horizon. How can it be? It can be in there's only one explanation, that is a kind of a holographic structure. I mean, I don't like the word simulation theory. Maybe because in Italian, simulation, the word simulazione is not, I don't like it, the word simulation, but maybe you can render it in English. Our word does not belong to the current, to the Galilean, to the Newtonian laws of physics. How can the sun be below the horizon. By the way, the word horizon is, as you know, as you may know, is a Freemason invention because horizon means Horus Horizon. So horizon is another word, is another thing that doesn't exist. Horizon is that horizon is the in the Bible you never read the word horizon. Okay, horizon is a word invented by Freemason just for rationalize, just for justify the separation between our realm, the earth, and the realm of God, which is the sky. This is another example we are seeing right now. We are watching right now that the sun went below the line of the horizon. It cannot be explained whatsoever unless you talk about, you bring in some other explanations, just like my theory of a kind of holographic universe, holographic world. There is, we are so accustomed to believe in science, to believe in NASA, that we are sure that everything can be controlled, can be numbered by science, can be uh, taken into a context that can be explained rationally. But how this video is explaining, there is no way to explain that the sun is you see the sun below the horizon. Please note an important thing. We've not been created to fly. Okay, so we shouldn't see the sun and the moon below the horizon. We shouldn't be able to watch this anomaly, this glitch in the matrix. But the devil taught to his followers to create the way to fly, just like Icarus. So we have learned to fly. So we have planes, we have balloons, and so on. So we can spot this glitch in the matrix that probably who creates the world in which we live didn't have planned that we could have spotted this anomaly, this glitch in the matrix, because we were not created to fly. Okay, this is another one very interesting. It is about the dome, okay, the firmament, where we know that we see in the star some kind of stars. They say we can see maybe 6,000 stars at naked eye, and which is not the firmament. Stars is an atmospheric phenomenon. The single stars, we can see them only in the atmosphere, in the low atmosphere. When you go in the high mountains, you can see very clearly the stars, their colors, and so on. But if you go at plain altitude, we cannot see. You cannot see any star, which is kind of weird, because if you watch carefully those pictures of the Milky Way and many pictures of the firmament, you see that it is actually a continuous surface, ruby. I don't know if the word ruby exists in English. not even, at uneven surface. The picture you are showing you right now, uh, I take it in a vault, in a dome, in a sanctuary here in Italy, because I'm a Catholic, so I go in sanctuaries. And I noticed that surface of is shining, is reflecting, and it is uneven, as you can see, and it is and it is curved because it is just a dome, okay, and it resembles a lot of for example, Milky Way, some galaxies, shining dots, and behind it, in the background, you spot kind of continuous surface, a solid surface. In fact, if you scroll down, okay, this is a picture of the Milky Way. If you look carefully, it is not single dots. It is just a continuous surface in which, due to its reflecting power, it is like a mirror. Some dots are more reflecting, and we can spot them, but it is just a surface, a continuous surface. Okay, it is not the universe, billions of light years and so on, just a lie of the Freemasons, all this construction, this building of light they built along the centuries. And this is my opinion about the holographic universe, because the sun, holographic sky, the sun is just light that we see, but the sun is in the atmosphere, so to speak. It is inside the dome. The sun and the moon and the stars have been created for us, because we, creation, are at the center of the world, at the center of the universe. We, men and women, we, mankind, just like the Bible says. And it is kind of surprising for me seeing some Christian fraternities not grabbing that. We just live in the our realm, which has been created by God. Of course, we believe in God, you and me. So another important thing is that we need to believe to have been created. It is instinctive to us to believe we are a creation. It's kind of weird, because normally you could not be able to understand if you have a creator, except our parents, of course, and they were created by someone else before. And but we also need, we have the instinctive need to believe that we have been created. There is a creator of us and of all these. And so, to me, the atheism, people who don't believe in God, is just a devil deception. On the other hand, most of the so-called atheists, just like Marx, Engels, many Marxists, and liberals, and so on, they are Freemasons. They are Satanists. They know that God exists, and they know that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Okay, but they pushes the atheism agenda, okay? And one of the foothold of the atheism agenda is the heliocentric model,
Right.
denying that there is a creation, that there is a creator, that we have been created, the world has been created for us, and there's no, so they push the space, the aliens, the galaxies, the conquest of Mars, the moon landing, and so on. Just a biggest, the biggest and immense astronomical devil deception. Oh, this is an old video I made about. It is interesting because I was forgetting that with the magnifying light magnifier, something like that, light intensifiers or something like that. If you point it at the sky, you can see the solid dome. Here, here is it. With special light intensifier, you can see that the sky is actually a surface. It is not an empty space with distant stars and planets and asteroids and so on. It's just with a light magnifier, a light intensifier, you can actually see that, as you can see there, there is a solid dome with reflecting properties, and some dots are more reflecting, or maybe they are emitting lights, something something like that. And so we can see it, as you can see there. The dome is just a surface. The sky is a surface. It's not an empty space. Okay, the so-called space is just a dome. And so we have to accept it. I have accepted it because I'm Christian, so I have no fear. There is more portion of people who have understood that. People who are not understanding that, they are doomed. You cannot hide it anymore because it is obvious that the earth is flat. And the problem now, this distraction, I was telling you before we went on air, that all this distraction agenda by all these guys, Netanyahu, Trump, Putin, the half trillionaire, Musk, and so on, just about to hide, to curb, to try to crack down on the ongoing awakening by people, and in the United States, in Brazil, here in Europe. Although the school system tries very hard to indoctrinate young people, children, and everybody. And what's going on is that they are keeping pushing to distract people with the sports, with the wars. Wars are just made to create distraction, to swing the attention of the people. And so here in Europe, and what is of course awful, that they are killing people in the wars, in many other ways, just like as we know, with some strange health injections and so on. And we have to wait and and hope to survive. Because as the Bible says, also the elected, the chosen ones will be deceived. Some of them. So we have to hope to be to save ourselves, and there's no way to go to the wild mass, because the masses as to the masses are too brainwashing. They will be they will turn to us. They will be turned against us by the elite, the ruling elite. So we have to go ahead, hoping that everything will go for the best. There's no way around, because we can go beyond the Antarctic uh, belts to see what's going on there. If there are different words, more. Personally, I don't believe that much, because I am biblical, so I believe that we live in a dome. We don't know where this dome reach the ground, because we know that the sky touches the earth in some places, but we are not allowed to reach the real border. Just like we are not allowed to touch the dome, to touch the firmament. We are confined in this place. We have to live here. We have to do what Jesus Christ said and the Lord said. We have nothing to do, and we have to battle the the spirits, which is they are the giants. I discovered I've written many books about giants. And when the giants were the Nephilim were swept away due with the first reset, which is the Great Flood, and there were another reset that it has been this reset, it has been completely hidden, completely erased, cancelled from the textbooks, and this reset wiped out all the giants, but their spirits uh, remained on the earth, and so they are wandering around. They are moving in the air. The power of the air. I believe Saint Paul talks about that. The powers of the air, and they are here to possess people, to possess even animals, and bring people to commit evil actions, to kill, to steal, and to make people be mad, to break families, to break families, to distract people, to induce car accident, job accident, to get mad and kill people. Many people are devil possessed, spirit possessed, or very oppressed by these entities, and they don't know. So it is very. We live in a very dangerous world, and this is my opinion. So personally, I have to say that I've a bit quitted with my researches, because I have reached the point where I understand that I cannot go further because there is some things that we cannot understand. When they set the size of the Earth, some lands were not discovered yet, so they had to hide these territories. Maybe near the South Pole, maybe in those in that empty space, which is the Pacific Ocean, and maybe there are lands we don't know. I was discussing last week with friends just about Brazil because they are hiding the real size of the southern, so-called southern hemisphere or southern hemiplane, so something like that. For example, if you there's a stupid example about Brazil. Okay, if you look at the map, the Brazil looks like half of the United States, but the Brazil is just a little bit smaller than the United States because United States are 9 million kilometers squared, while Brazil is 8.5 million kilometers squared, just a bit smaller Brazil than the United States. Another comparison you can make it is Brazil with India. You see that India and Brazil more or less are the same size in the maps, but you imagine India is way bigger because they have 1.4 billion inhabitants and so on, a lot more than the Brazil. But if you watch the two sizes, okay, in the map, Brazil and India looks like more or less the same size, but in the real world, Brazil is 8.5 million kilometers square, while India is 3.1 kilometers square. Okay, Brazil is almost 3 times India. Why the Grissom map reports, which is interesting, thank you, because it is just a good idea of yours. Brazil, in this map, the proportion between nations are more accurate because you can see that Brazil is actually almost as big as the United States, and India is not as big as the Brazil, but which is smaller. Okay, and another stuff we should check out is the true size of the nation, but you can do it just traveling, just experiencing yourself. Um, so you should have a lot of money to do that, or have somebody with a lot of money that doing all this measurement and so on. And to me, we don't have much better than the Gleason map at the moment about the shape of our world. The flip of the coin
Yeah.
of the flat earth is that also the history is completely fake. The history has been invented. We have had, after the creation, we have had the fallen angels.
Yes.
I recount in the book you shown, the third volume of Quaderni dalla Terra Piatta, which is only in Italian so far. And then there was a reset, which is the great flood of Noah. And later, there were another flood. And uh, not a flood. Yes, that book. And in this book, which is called Anno Domini in Italian. It is about the Tartarian and all these fluids. I speculate that there are three fluids, no, not three fluids, three resets. Three resets. There were three resets, and the second and the third resets they have been cancelled. We don't have memory, and the first reset, which was the great flood, they say it was an invention, it was a myth, and the other important thing that you should point out, maybe in your speeches, in your lives, that Jesus Christ lived 1,000 years ago, not 2,000. They changed the times, and the same reason for to create these long ages and Pleistocene and Jurassic and so on. Is that so they can say that Jesus was a myth? They can say that Jesus never existed. So, because they say, why can you try? Why can you trust? Sorry, why can you trust a guy lived 2,000 years ago? Maybe he never existed. Maybe he was a completely fabricated history, and that's the reason why the Freemasons very cleverly they told me without I realizing that it was true. Maybe I told once or two that I was in contact with an Illuminati member here in Italy, and I remember asking him if the people who crucified Jesus and freed Judas were the same that are in chairs in power today. And he told me, oh yes, he was there reckoning a bit and say, oh well, 20 generation, 1,000 years. Oh yes, he said they're the same people that were shouting, crucify him, crucify him. They are the same people, and that are in power today. That the so-called ruling elite are not so-called. They are really the ruling elite. And back then, 10 years ago, I didn't understand because he told me 1,000 years. But after 5 years later, 5 years ago, I understood, 6 years ago, and I understood that they know that Jesus lived 1,000 years ago. They changed the history with the help, with the evil spirit, because the fallen angels, the evil spirit, they can change the matters. They could turn a subject. They can create a book. They can alter a date. Okay, and the only thing the only obligation they have is there's no, what they do must be hidden, must not be done at the sun, at light. So they act during the night, during when behind a curtain, just like some kind of illusionists, and some kind illusionists are not real illusionists. They are musicians. They use demos to perform the gigs. Okay, so they in the centuries they created the whole heliocentric model. They created uh, during the night all these round maps on this globe. They created a history, fake history, to bring us into believing in never existed people like Eratosthenes and all those people. They never existed. Okay, they just invented people because uh, uh, all the documentation, for example, all the documentation about the ancient ancient Greece, ancient Rome, how all this documentation survived to the Middle Age, to the fires, to the floods, to the, the theft, the thieves, and and all these pages, all these so-called ancient papers, was invented in the Middle Age and were fabricated by with the help of spirits that they dictate through the mediums how to say, to write, to automatic writing. I don't know if you know about that. Automatic writing people. Oh yes, they did that and they do that today. And to keep up the lie, to keep up with the lie that we live in this godless spinning ball whirling around the sun and in this infinite universe, ever expanding and so on. It's just incredible. Sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I, I wonder if I am the mad and the or not. The sanity is insanity, and vice versa in this world. Yeah, this is a coin, and proves that 1,000 years were in the past when the Arabic numbers were introduced in the Western world to distinguish the new calendar with other calendars in use, Arabic calendar, Jewish calendar, local calendars, and so on. They used a J for Jesus, or an I for Jesus, or an X in the Western Europe for Christos, Christ in Greek, and they put before the number. So I 601 means 601 years after the birth of Jesus. And then when the letter J was introduced in the English alphabet, the I became J, okay, understood? And in the Western countries, where Western Europe, they use the X, the letter key, Greek key, stood for Christos, Christ. But in the Iberic Peninsula, Spain and Portugal, for brevity, they omitted the letter J, the first letter. So we have in many documents, the documents you have shown, just the number without the reference to Jesus J, because they give for granted that they were talking about the Jesus calendar. Okay, the calendar numbering from the birth of Jesus. Okay, so this habit was brought with them in the colonies. So the Portuguese colonies in India, we can see the tombstone, the carved tombstone, inscribed tombstone of the Portuguese colonies who were dead, we have buried there. Their tombstones of these Portuguese colonies are without the eye. So we have another big proof that at a certain point of the history they believed they were 600 years after the birth of Jesus. But now historians say that it was 1,600 years from the birth of Jesus, because they were very clever that they turned with magic, with this spirit, turned the I into the number one. Okay, the J, they turned the letter J into the number one. And this process ended in the second half of the 758, and then during the French Revolution, which was done by Freemasons, by Satanists, and Illuminati, and so on, the Illuminism. Okay, and in fact, I mentioned this in my book, Anno Domini, which is this one, which is in Italian. So far, it is well recounted that the French Revolution changed the calendars. They invented their own calendar with different months, the name of months, different weeks, different days, and so on. Just another calendar. And then when the French Revolution ended, also the English Revolution, also the American Revolution, which was inspired by French Freemasons, then at the beginning of the 19th centuries, the 1800, centuries, when the former calendar was restored, the letter I was always written as the number one. So they used these fake revolutions, French Revolution, British English Revolution, American Revolution, all the same pattern, all the same people, to change these the dates, starting from the 1800s. We believe it was 1800 and not 800, 1800. And be careful. In the Western Europe, the Julian calendar and so on went on till there was another revolution in Russia, another fake revolution, the October Revolution by the Reds and so on, and they also changed the calendar. Okay, and you should, and our audience should wonder why in no history books you read about that all these revolutions changed the calendar. They talk about the Tsar, they talk about the guillotine to cut the head, the king, the queen, and so on, and the revolutionaries, Robespierre and so on, and so Trotsky, Stalin, Lenin in Russia, and so on. They never ever mention that one of the goals of these revolutions it was to change the calendar. Okay? It's a long story. It is a long story short. Thank you, you. Thank you to you. Greetings to Japan. See you next time, everybody.
Don't waste any more time. Visit the links above now and order my book 16 Emergency Landings Proving Flat Earth. Visit my online store now and order the new enhanced Gleason's Flat Earth map. This map used to be in every school and library in the nation before NASA was created in 1958, when the maps were ordered removed. Have your Gleason's map hanging on the wall in your house where no government can take it down. Here you see it hanging on a wall in the house of the late Charles K. Johnson. Here is a quote from the book 1984 by George Orwell. Every record has been destroyed or falsified, every book rewritten, every picture has been repainted, every statue and street building has been renamed, every date has been altered, and the process is continuing day by day and minute by minute. History has stopped. Order your map now.